Shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach Wadash, for giving me the spirit and power to make this lesson. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who teach this truth, and Ruel, Wabragatham, unto the elect. This is the brother Gabar, and I'm back with another lesson, from the Great Millstone Dallas branch. And this is going to be on draw near to Yahweh and feel the power. Because when you draw near to Yahweh, you're going to become more powerful, as he's going to bless you with more of his spirit, which is more power. All right. But in drawing near to Yahweh, all right, you're going to have to resist more things. You're going to have to put off more things. Okay. You're going to have to focus more on him. And to the flesh, a lot of times, it's not going to feel so good. But if you're determined, all right, then you will be blessed. You will be blessed with more of his spirit, which is more power. That's where the power is. Pleasing Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay? Draw near to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai and feel the power, man. All right? James chapter 4 and verse 8. Draw nigh to Yahweh, and he will draw nigh to you. Right? He doesn't upbraid when someone's asking for wisdom, when someone is seeking after him. All right, they're fearing the Lord more. He's not upbraiding and resisting them. All right. He actually has pleasure in that. All right. And he's drawing near unto you. As you taking steps towards Yahweh, he's taking steps towards you. Like, come on, come here. Okay. And as you're doing that, you're going to feel his spirit more inside of you. His spirit is going to be on you heavier. Okay. When you are single-eyed, man, not just for a day, not just for a week, a month, whatever, but you're actually single-eyed sincerely upon Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And yes, in this flesh, we do stumble, as the scripture says that a just man falleth 7 times, but it says that he riseth up again. It's about the fight. Okay. But if you put up that fight, if you continue, okay, and you're actually trying your actual best, which Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai knows and he sees, then he's going to reward you. He's going to be there taking steps towards you as you taking steps towards him, which is very powerful, because having the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is pure power. Okay. I grabbed that after I finished this precept, James 4 and 8, where I left off. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded. Okay. So you don't want to be double-minded. You want to purify, all right, your heart, your mind. All right. Lean on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Have faith, all right, in his understanding. Okay. And what he said already to you. Okay. Because he's there. All right. But you got to reach out to him. You have to seek. You have to ask. Okay. Now, proving that point of how the Lord's spirit is that power. All right. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7 and verse 14. It says, for she is a treasure unto men that never faileth. Speaking about wisdom. You won't fail if you're banking on fearing Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. There is no failure in that. Okay. It says, which they that use become the friends. Oh, you know what, Salakia, I jumped the gun. I wanted to get Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, in verse, 1 second. I want to say 20 something. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, in verse 20, let's see. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7 verse 23. All right, going into the different aspects of wisdom. Okay, as it says in verse 22, for wisdom, and it's giving you a list of different things. Which one of those things says clear? Okay. But down here in verse 25, it says, kind to man, steadfast, sure, free from care, having all power. And that's the point. Okay. Now it also says in this verse, overseeing all things and going through all understanding, pure and most subtle spirits. Okay. So this wisdom is all power. It's the power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shai. Okay, you get to it through Yahweh Shai. All right. He's the door, okay, to the Father. No man coming to the Father but by me. Okay, we understand that. All right, but this power that we possessed, all right, that we possess in our body, okay, that is upon us, it is all power. All power, man. You can do anything with this power. Yahweh Shai himself said it. All right, let me grab that right quick. One second. Mark chapter 11 and verse 23. For verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith. Okay, so this power is activated through faith. All right, faith activates this power. Okay, and faith and the fear of Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shai go hand in hand. All right, the root of this wisdom is you fearing the Lord. Okay, you fear the Lord, all right, more, you're gonna have more faith. All right, because you believe in the Lord. All right, and you believe in his judgments. Okay, so you're gonna do more of what he's telling you to do. Okay, now as it says, to break this down completely, Mark 11 and 23, for verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, saying a mountain because something really, really big, not literally going to Mount Everest and going to the ocean, you know. Now all things are possible, of course, if Yahweh wants it. Okay, but it's not talking about a literal physical mountain. It's talking about something big. All right, performing spiritual power. That's something big. Okay. It says, for verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea. All right, so doing something big, not normal. All right, to these average Joes, average people. It says, and shall not doubt in his heart, meaning you fully believe that Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shai is with you, that Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shai's power is on you to do this thing, to glorify him. Okay. It says, and shall not doubt in his heart, not double-minded, because if you're double-minded, you won't receive anything. All right, we read that in James. All right, so you have to be sure, which is that sure spirit is also in wisdom. It makes you more sure. All right, it says, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass. You actually believe that it will happen for real. Then what? It says, he shall have whatsoever he saith. And what that means is what? That means anything is possible. Whatever you say can happen through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shai Ba'ashem Rachakwadash. For real. Okay? And that's a lot of power, man. That is a lot of power. Imagine if it was a man on earth right now, all right, in league with Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shai like that. Okay? That whatsoever he said actually happens. Whatsoever he wants to do, he can do. He want to heal this person in the name of the Lord, he's healed. He wants to fly, he can fly. Okay, he's moving mountains. He's doing great things. That's what that's talking about. Okay, how powerful is that? That will shock the entire world. Okay, just like Yahweh Shai, when he performed all those, he was performing different miracles. All right, healing people, doing this, doing that, walking on water. Okay, disappearing, reappearing, all these different things. All right, people were amazed completely. All right, You think people won't be amazed now? That's something that doesn't happen. Okay, different things, somebody doing whatever they want to do in the name of Yahweh Shema Shai, of course, to glorify him in league with his will, of course, not anything outside of his will. That would shock the world, man. Okay? But you have to rule your spirit to get to that point. You have to rule your spirit. You have to be in league with Yahweh Shema Shai, which requires you, all right, cutting off this flesh more, all right, being in the spirit, walking in the spirit, okay? And the Lord will show you, man. The Lord will show you what he wants you to do. That's a fact. That is a fact, okay? So if you want to be on that level, all right, where what you saying is just happening, this person, they in a wheelchair or whatever, yeah, you heal them in the name of Yahweh Shema Shai, all right? They stand up and now they walking, all right, like nothing ever happened to them, like they wasn't born that way or nothing ever happened to them, okay? Their arm is withered, all right? You touch it in the name of Yahweh Shema Shai, heal them, all right? And it's like it never was like that, okay? And they giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shema Shai, and you are too, okay? Because you're doing it in the name of the Lord, all right, to glorify the Lord, all right? Not for yourself, okay? Not for ourselves, but for Yahweh Shema Shai. And also, don't you think that will speed up the end, okay? Don't you think that will cause more people to believe? Matter of fact, let's grab this. It's like your phone going a little slow now. Yeah, hold on, man. Satan. Let me try to go back, pull up this chapter. Let's get Acts chapter 4 in verse let me see. Maybe not Acts chapter 4. Okay. Give me one moment. Man, I can't find it, Salakia. Okay. I have to do a separate lesson on that whenever I do find it, Lord's will. Okay. But nonetheless, yes. Okay. Somebody that has that power on earth. All right. Of course. All right. It's going to be more followers in Yahweh Shai. All right. When people are getting healed. Okay. Power being displayed on that level. As the scriptures even say, all right, in the day of thy power, thy people shall be willing. All right. Now we know ultimately, all right, when judgment and stuff come down, everybody gonna cry out. Everybody gonna cry out to Yahweh Shema Shai. Jake. All right, they're gonna try to seek the Lord, but it's gonna be too late. Okay. But you have what's gonna happen is as the Lord blesses men with that power, okay, to perform these things, then people are going to be added to the church in great number. Okay, that's about to happen. All right, the healings of old, all right, the different things that the apostles did, that Yahweh Shah himself even did, all right, that's all coming back, okay? It's coming back. All right, now let's get another precept. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and continue. This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 6 and verse 19. It says, "And incorruption maketh us near to Yahweh." All right. So being near to Yahweh requires you to put on that incorruption. All right. As it says, all right, in verse in 1 Corinthians 15:53, for this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. Right? That's where we're going. That's where this wisdom is taking us. All right, to that immortal state where Yahweh Shah went. All right, as he received that glorified body, how he first was in the beginning. Okay, and being glorified at the right hand side of Yahweh, which is an honor that, you know, nobody knows but him. Okay, but his younger brothers being on that same path, that same journey after him. All right, they're gonna taste that as well. Okay, being joint heirs to Yahweh Shai. All right, being right up under him, joint heirs. Okay, but this wisdom is taking us there. This incorruptible spirit is taking us there as we put it on. All right, we have to put it on. This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 12 and verse 1. For thine incorruptible spirit is in all things. Right, speaking about that wisdom. Okay, as we read earlier in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7 and verse 20, what was it, 23, I believe. Okay, or verse 22, it says, for wisdom of Solomon chapter 7 and verse 22, for wisdom, which is the worker of all things, taught me, for in her is an understanding spirit, holy, one only, manifold, subtile, lively, clear, undefiled, plain, not subject to hurt, loving the thing that is good, quick, which cannot be letted, ready to do good. Okay, verse 23. All right, now remember in verse 22 it says, which is the worker of all things. All right, because through wisdom these things came about. All right, verse 23, kind to man, steadfast, sure, free from care, having all power. We touched on that. It says overseeing all things and going through all understanding, pure and most subtile spirits. Okay, so this wisdom, all right, this wisdom, okay, the wisdom of Yahweh by Shemal Shai, all right, is what we're putting on, all right, to get closer to him. Okay, that's what it's talking about. All right, his incorruptible spirit. All right, so as we put that spirit on, we get closer to him, because incorruption make us closer to him. Okay, and in that incorruptible spirit is all power. Wisdom of Solomon 7:23, as we've been reading. Okay, it's serious. Okay, because you're gonna feel it. You're going to see it, and you're going to be able to do mighty things with that power. You go look at the generations of old, all right, and you see the men that had that spirit. What was they doing? What was some of the certain things that they were doing with that spirit on them, man? All right, let's grab one account. All right. This is Judges chapter 14 in verse 6, straight to the point. It says, and the spirit of the Lord Yahweh came mightily upon him. You see, it came mightily. All right. It's levels to this. All right. You want the spirit of the Lord to come upon you mightily. All right. It says, Judges 14:6, and the spirit of the Lord Yahweh came mightily upon him, and he rent him as he would have rent a kid, and he had nothing in his hand, but he told not his father or his mother what he had done. All right. Now, what was that talking about? What did he rent or fight? All right. It's talking about what? Verse 8. Okay, let's go. Well, Salakia, not verse 8. Verse 5. All right, Joshua chapter 14 and verse 5. Then went Samson down, and his father and his mother, to Timnath, and came to the vineyards of Timnath, and behold, a young lion roared against him. Okay, so a lion in his prime, all right, roared against him. All right, and then what? All right, the spirit of the Lord came mightily upon Samson, and he rent him. Now let's just grab that. Let's grab it in the Blue Letter Bible. Okay, that word rent. So we know exactly what happened. Joshua, what is that? Joshua 14. It's locking my nose, kind of running. All right. Joshua 14 in verse oh, Slakia, not Joshua. Judges, Slakia. Judges 14 and 5. That's why I'm looking like. Judges chapter 14. In verse 6. Speaking about how he rent the lion. All right. Let me play this word.
Strong's H 8156. Chassah. Chassah.
All right. And that word in the Hebrew, okay, is Shassai. All right. And it says to tear in two, cleave in two. All right, it says to tear in two, rend, stay, in the Strong's definition, rend, stay. All right, now you go down here to Brown Driver Briggs Lexicon. It says tear, spart. All right, man. All right. Yeah, that's all on that word. I grab it also in the Google definition, rend definition. It says tear something in two or more pieces. Wow. All right. It says cause great emotional pain to a person or their heart, wrench something violently. All right, man. So he basically he fucked that lion up. He fucked that lion all the way up. All right. Now, is that something that can normally be done by any man out here, their own power against a lion? No. If a lion roar at any man on this earth, all right, any man on the earth without Yahweh Bashim Shai, he running away for sure. First instinct is to get the hell up out of there. All right. But the Spirit of the Lord being upon Samson mightily, all right, he rent him. All right. Now I typed in rend on Google. All right. Let's get this word rent. All right. Let me see. Okay, it's talking about landlord payments and stuff. Okay. Let me see. It says rent. A large tear in a piece of fabric. Man. All right. Similar words. It just says gorge, gash, slash, rip, tear, split, break. All right. And it may mention specifically, because you would think, damn, would he stab him with a sword? All right. It may mention specifically what? All right, that he didn't have nothing in his hand. So he did it with just himself, meaning it's of the Spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai. All right. Let's read that again now with that understanding. All right, Judges 14:6. And the Spirit of the Lord Yahweh. All right, matter of fact, we'll start at 5. Judges 14:5. Then went Samson down and his father and his mother to Timnath, and came to the vineyards of Timnath, and behold, a young lion roared against him. And the Spirit of the Lord Yahweh came mightily upon him, and he rent him as he would have rent a kid. So it was nothing. All right. It says, and he had nothing in his hand, but he told not his father or his mother what he had done. You see? So, man. All right. Yeah. All right. With the power of the Lord, anything is possible. Okay. Anything is possible. A lion come against you, you could defeat that lion with just your hands, man. Nothing else. All right. Man. Okay. Why? Because that spirit is having all power. It is power. All right. It is power. Okay. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, in verse, as we already got in verse 23, all right, 22, 23, but verse 26, for she, wisdom, okay, the spirit that's upon you, for she is the brightness of the everlasting light, the unspotted mirror of the power of Yahweh, in the image of his goodness, right? It's just power. It's pure power. It's having all power. You got to know that. You got to believe that, and you're going to feel it the closer you get. And as an Israelite man, why wouldn't you want to be close with your power? Why wouldn't you want to inherit and receive more of this power? You can. All right. You have to ask. All right. And prepare your steps. Set your heart aright and go in that direction. All right. Because the Lord wants you to. All right. He want to give you this power. Okay. But you have to put on that spirit. You have to fear him. Okay. You have to believe, and anything can happen. Literally. We just read about Samson and when the spirit came upon him mightily and what he did with it. Okay. And that's just one thing he did. All right. And one example out of countless, man. Of course, you got the example of Yahweh Shai. Okay. So, yeah. All right. It's like my nose running. Okay. Let me grab one more precept and then I end it off. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9 and verse 4. It says, give me wisdom that sitteth by thy throne, and reject me not from among thy children. Right. That wisdom, that power is coming from the throne of God, from the throne of Yahweh, man. Okay. It's not from down here. It's not something earthy. Okay. It's not earthly. All right. It's coming from up there, flowing from up there down to you specifically. All right. And it's pure power, and you can tap more into that power, man. You don't think that's powerful? Something coming from the throne of Yahweh, the throne of Yahweh. up there down to you, you don't think you can do great things with that? You got to check yourself. All right. You don't want that. You got to check yourself. Okay. That's power right there. All right. So focus on that and feel the power. Focus on that and feel the power. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai for giving me the spirit and power to make this lesson. Until next time, Kamiyat Shalom.